Good evening and welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. I am Twyla Thompson with the details. Teachers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines who were dismissed more than 4 years ago under the former government's COVID-19 vaccine mandate have now reportedly returned to the classroom following an invitation by the new administration to resume their posts. However, President of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, says he has received reports that some school principals have not been fully accommodating towards returning educators. He is urging principals to be more welcoming to ensure a respectful and professional reintegration process.
We have been reliably informed that there are some principals who are cooperating with the Ministry of Education to try to frustrate those teachers whom the government had said they must return to work, which is the beginning of the process for reinstatement and the realization of all benefits. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union is calling on the principals to cooperate with the policy of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a directive, it's a policy decision by the government, and we expected all subordinates to comply. You cannot put your shoulder above your head. The teachers have already suffered so many years, and now that the government has told them to go back to work, there are some people who are trying to play a political game by trying to sabotage what the government is trying to do. So I am exercising a caution to all those who are trying to frustrate the teachers from going back to work.
Robinson noted that more than 200 teachers had been affected by the mandate and emphasized that the union supports all displaced educators being reinstated. He added that full cooperation among administrators, teachers, and the Ministry of Education is essential to ensuring smooth transition back into the school system.
Could be considered insubordinate if the Prime Minister has made a statement publicly that the workers would be reinstated. And now that they have showed up for work, which is the first step of the beginning of a process, some people are trying to spin them around and give them all sorts of different instructions. So I just want to say that the Teachers Union is concerned about this, and we want to have a smooth transition of the beginning of the reinstatement of all teachers here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The previous vaccine mandate introduced during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic required teachers and certain public sector workers to be vaccinated to retain their jobs. The policy led to dismissals and certain legal challenges, and it remained a contentious national issue. With the change in administration, the government has moved to reverse aspects of the mandate, allowing dismissed teachers to return, though many logistical and administrative hurdles remain. The civil society organizations in St. Vincent and the Grenadines came together today to participate in a United Nations sensitization training focused on the vital role of community groups in strengthening citizen security and deepening community involvement. Delivering remarks at the opening ceremony, head of the UN Resident Coordination Office for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Kenroy Roach, told participants that their presence reflects a shared commitment to foster safer, more inclusive communities throughout the Eastern Caribbean. He said that it is a commitment which is both urgent and essential.
Citizen security is not simply a policy priority, it is a fundamental human right and a cornerstone of sustainable development. The challenge of crime and violence affect every aspect of life, from economic growth and education to social cohesion and trust in institutions and communities. Addressing these issues require a whole of society approach, and the civil society organizations are at the heart of this effort. Your voices, your advocacy, your actions are indispensable in shaping solutions that are community-driven, rights-based, and inclusive. As the sub-regional team of the United Nations for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, we are guided by the principles of the UN Charter and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which call for peace, justice, and strong institutions. Globally, the United Nations work to prevent conflict, uphold human rights, and promote inclusive governance, because we know security is not only a local concern, it is a global imperative.
Roach emphasized that the work being undertaken at this session aligns directly with Sustainable Development Goal 16, which promotes peace, justice, and strong institutions. He noted that this global framework recognizes the local action drives global progress and that civil society plays an indispensable role in bridging the gap between communities and national institutions.
This initiative is part of the UN's broader effort to strengthen civic engagement and partnerships across the Eastern Caribbean, in line with the Secretary General's Common Agenda and the Antigua and Barbuda Agenda for SIDS, the allies. Both frameworks underscore that progress towards peace and sustainable development depends on empowering people and expanding civic space. So today's session provides a unique platform to strengthen partnerships, share best practices, and explore innovative strategies for building peace and resilience. Importantly, these discussions take place during the 16 days of activism against gender violence, a global campaign that reminds us that violence against women and girls remains one of the most pervasive human rights violations. Citizen security cannot be achieved without addressing gender-based violence. Protecting our women and girls is not only a moral obligation, it is essential for building peaceful and resilient societies. I encourage all of us to keep this in focus as we explore strategies for safer communities, and we look to you, civil society organizations, to give us new and innovative ideas on how we can tackle this pervasive issue of gender-based violence.
The UN representative further underscored that citizen security is a shared responsibility requiring collaboration between governments, communities, and civil society organizations. He stressed that the contributions of the civil society are fundamental in addressing the root causes and insecurity and building more resilient, empowered communities. The training forms part of an ongoing initiative by the UN to support regional efforts aimed at reducing violence, enhancing social cohesion, and improving public trust in community-level institutions. The next sensitization training will take place in Grenada tomorrow, Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. Celebrating our culture crime-free as the festive season begins, the officers within the Crime Prevention Unit of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, SVG-PF, are urging Vincentians to adopt safer practices and work collectively to promote a crime-free environment during the holiday celebrations. On the Police on the Beach program last evening, Superintendent Oswin Richards noted that while Christmas brings increased gatherings, travel, and commercial activity, these same opportunities can create an environment where criminals may seek to take advantage of distracted individuals. He encouraged citizens to remain alert, secure their homes and vehicles, and report suspicious behavior as soon as it is observed.
Some people make some simple mistakes. Being naive, not following certain protocols, like they might be in a group and they wander off in a dark area. It's like two people have the handbag over their shoulder and they tuck it in nicely. You know, there's a little mistakes. Some people too, because they might during this season they consume some alcohol, and so when they take out whatever money they have, they expose their cash, and because they expose their cash, they create opportunities. Because there's some people on the street are looking closely, and they look for the weak or the most vulnerable.
Yes.
And so it's important not to expose your money like that over the season. Or whenever, it's important that you secure your cash. Whether in your pocket, carry your purse in your front pocket rather than your back, especially if you're going through crowds. And if you have a purse over your shoulder, you tuck it in nicely under your arm. So anybody pull on it, at least it give you a chance to respond.
Detective Constable Roland Descent also provided practical safety advice aimed at reducing the likelihood of crime during the season. He underscored that safety often depends on simple daily habits, being aware of one's surroundings, avoiding the visible display of cash or valuables, and ensuring children, elderly persons, and other vulnerable individuals are properly supervised at public events and gatherings.
My advice will be, because around this season you have the 9 nights,
Yes.
and you have the 9 mornings activities, and the 9 morning activities just be around 3 a.m. or so forth. So my advice to the parents to ensure that the children go to these events, I should say, with someone who they can trust.
Yes. Absolutely.
A mature individual. Be more vigilant to your surroundings, and especially if you're leaving home at this time in the Christmas season. Don't expect you to leave a bathroom window open. No? That's the route the perpetrators them take to go inside and enter your house and take out your items.
Yes.
And so forth. So we just have to be more aware of our surroundings.
Both officers reiterated that reduced crime during the holiday period requires community participation, responsible behavior, and close cooperation with law enforcement. They encouraged Vincentians to enjoy the season while remaining mindful of safety practices that help protect themselves, their families, and their communities. The Small Craft and High Surf Advisory is extended for St. Vincent and the Grenadines and its coastal waters until 6 p.m. on Friday, 12 December 2025. A Small Craft Advisory is issued when sustained winds of 37 to 46 kilometers per hour and or sea swells of 2.3 to 3 meters or 8 to 10 feet are affecting or forecast to affect the marine area within the next 36 hours. A high surf advisory is issued when breaking wave action is forecast to pose a threat to life and property within the surf zone during the next 36 hours. According to the SVG Meteorological Services, large waves and dangerous whip currents will continue to create unsafe conditions for small craft operators, particularly on the northern and eastern coastlines. It says these conditions may become even more adverse at times of high tide. Therefore, only vessels capable of withstanding swells of these magnitudes should venture out. Sea bathers are advised to stay out of the water. Upcoming high tide times are as follows. Tuesday today at 11:28 p.m., Wednesday 9:42 a.m., Thursday 12:04 a.m. and 10:34 p.m. Friday 12:40 a.m. and 11:27 p.m. The Met Office Services says the advisory may be discontinued at 6 p.m. on Friday 12 December 2025 or sooner if conditions improve. It may also be extended if conditions warrant. Welcome back. Prime Minister Dr. Godwin Friday has ordered the immediate resumption of operations at the Camden Park port following his first official visit to the newly commissioned modern port in Kingstown on Monday. The Camden Park port closed in October after the opening of the new Kingstown facility, which will once begin processing cargo from today, Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. In a statement posted to his Facebook page last evening, Prime Minister Friday explained the significant readiness work remains underway at the new Kingstown port, making it necessary to temporarily shift operations back to the Camden Park port to ensure the smooth flow of imports during the busy holiday season. He emphasized that the decision was made to ensure families received their Christmas barrels without undue delay and to allow merchants to adequately stock their stores during one of the most critical periods for commerce. The reopening of the Camden Park port facility is expected to ease congestion during the process and to support both businesses and communities and household recipients during the peak import period. So Vincentians should manage their portion sizes during the festive season. Community dietitian Melody Hercules is offering practical guidance to help residents improve their eating habits and reduce the spike in hospital visits typically seen after Christmas. Hercules emphasized the effectiveness of the My Plate method, noting that half of the plate does not need to consist of imported fruits and vegetables. She encouraged Vincentians to make greater use of locally grown produce, which is often fresher, more affordable, and nutritionally rich.
We practiced the My Plate method. So when we were looking at the My Plate method, we were focusing on half of the plate in fruits and vegetables as much as you can. And as I said, I know the complaint oftentimes is that the prices, they can't afford this, they can't afford that. But we also encourage persons to use local fruits and vegetables. You don't have to fall into the habit or the trend of buying imported fruits and vegetables. You have the lettuce that is grown here, the cucumber, the tomatoes, the broccoli, the different fruits that are in season. Utilize those because generally they are significantly cheaper. So we're encouraging persons to have half a plate of fruits and vegetables, and then the other half you're dividing into two equally, starches and proteins. And I have to say equally because if I don't, they're all going to be divided into, and then majority will be starches and a little bit will be proteins.
Right.
That dietitian further advised that using a smaller plate can help individuals better control their food intake. According to Hercules, the technique works by tricking the mind into believing that a substantial portion is being consumed, even when the serving size is reduced.
To begin with, before we even get to my plate, just use a smaller plate. It tricks the mind. It's a mind trick.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we've all been to a restaurant or different places and they would bring out this large plate and the food is in the middle.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, this can't fool me. Or you've gone to a buffet before and there's this large plate and you're tempted to, or some persons fill it to the brim, and then when it's time to eat or you're eating, you can't eat everything, but you don't want to waste it. So you still end up eating everything. So the ideal thing would be to start with a smaller plate. Look at the plates that you have in your house and the sizes, and utilize the smaller one. So this way, even if you fold the plate, it will still be significantly smaller than if you have used a larger plate.
Hercules is urging the public to adopt simple but consistent strategies throughout the holiday season, stressing that mindful eating can significantly reduce the number of patients who experience complications related to overeating or poor dietary choices at this time of year. The Center for Enterprise Development, Inc., CED, will next week host the first in a series of business clinics on its Unlocking Opportunities through Climate Change Initiative Initiatives UOCCI project. The CED is inviting small business operators and persons who want to get into business on the leeward side of the island to attend the first business clinic on Wednesday, 10th December at Barley Learning Resource Center, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The CED says the business clinics are designed to reach enterprises in rural communities and sensitize them on various aspects of managing their operations. They also provide access to CED's business development officers, BDOS, to discuss issues affecting their businesses. In addition, the business clinics will also help the CED to improve its technical support services and develop programs to better serve the business sector. During the business clinic, the CED is expected to present on the topic Climate Impacts on Women-Led Businesses. Following, entrepreneurs will have one-on-one consultations with a BDO. The CED is appealing to business owners in Barrowlee and other communities on the leeward side of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to take advantage of the opportunities and to attend the business clinic. The 3-year UOCCI project is funded by the Organization of American States, OAS, through its Development Cooperation Fund, DCF, and is being implemented under the OAS DCF 2024 to 2027 programming cycle to support, recognize, and foster the contributions of women and undeserved communities to create a more inclusive and effective approach to climate action that benefits everyone. The goal of the UOCCI project is to reduce the impact of climate change to enhance livelihoods and increase economic opportunities for women and vulnerable communities.